Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Cowboys Fan Show. Zach and I, alongside Tyler Ortega, Kimberly Temple, and the star of the sports desk, Aaron Nunez. It's now time for Tyler's scouting report, but before we get to that, what's going on in October?
There's something missing from the set, guys, for breast cancer awareness.
Oh, yeah.
Along with the NFL, we are here to raise awareness for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, which is October, so we're sporting pink.
Very nice, very nice. You both wore pink last week. I didn't get the memo.
We're wearing blue and red this week.
Ann and I are matching this week.
Look at that.
I love it.
That.
No prior
Oh,
communication, just matching.
There
What
you
we
go.
do, great minds.
Yeah, we didn't even plan this.
Oh, you just look like Giants fans.
We just
Tyler,
fly all by
scouting
ourselves.
report. Talk to me, my friend.
Cowboys got a tough one coming up this week, Zach. They are facing the Seattle Seahawks. They've been in the Super Bowl the last 2 years, won it, year before last, and were one running play up the gut from probably winning it again last year. We all know how that turned out.
Tom Brady.
Malcolm Butler's interception there at the goal line. But looking ahead here, the Seahawks are sitting at 3-4 there in the NFC West, 1-1 overall in the division. As you can see, the Arizona Cardinals on top there. And the Cardinals are just blistering people on offense, scoring over 200 points. They've only given up 115. And when you look at Seattle there, their defense is not holding up as they were. They're still a top 5 defense, but they're not as scary as they used to be. And with that being said, they have adapted. And now, not necessarily adapted, but they've had to lean more on that offense and that running game. Now, we all know Seattle Seahawks have Marshawn Lynch, who goes by the nickname Beast Mode. As you can see him just running up the tackles each time, just bouncing off defenders left and right. And, quite frankly, there's a reason they call him Beast Mode.
Oh, absolutely.
And, the last thing here, as I said, the Seahawks do have a top 5 defense in the NFL. As you can see here, Kaepernick is going to roll out Squidward, and they're going to get to him, pressure him. And there was a whole lot of that going on Thursday night last week whenever the Seahawks and the Niners played. Kaepernick just looked out of sorts. The secondary of Seattle was all over the receivers. And, to complement that, the defensive line was getting pressure on the quarterback. And, if you can't get any time to pick your defense apart, if you don't have time to look at your receivers, and if you don't have receivers that are open, the offense really is not going to work.
It's a difficult situation to adapt to in Seattle. They're not used to this, having to lean on the offense. I was told I made the same joke last week a few times about giving you the keys after your car wreck. Huh? So I'm not going to make it this week. What are your keys to the game?
Well, again, 3 for you. As we saw Sunday night, turnovers. Whether it was Whedon throwing interceptions, Cole Beasley muffing punts, turnovers killed the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday.
Castle throwing interceptions. Don't blame Whedon. This isn't his fault anymore.
Regardless, whoever's out there throwing the ball, they can't turn the ball over. The Cowboys defense is struggling enough already, missing Dez and Tony, and the last thing that you can do is turn the ball over to the Seattle defense or offense because, like I said, they have that power run game. They're going to run it down your throat. They're going to run down the clock. The Cowboys need to possess the ball as much as possible this week.
Cowboys don't have a half-bad running game themselves.
Well, yeah, they look good for 1 week.
Darren McFadden looking like his old days at Arkansas, 152 rushing yards.
Yeah, and that brings up my next point here. The Cowboys have to stick to the run, ladies and gentlemen. As we saw, Darren McFadden had 29 carries for 152 yards. That's a 5.2 yard per carry average, and he also had a touchdown. His longest run of the night was 22 yards. But, we touched on it during those highlights. Darren McFadden was looking a lot like 29 from last year. And DeMarco Murray, just getting the balls through the tackles, bouncing off a couple defenders, not necessarily big ripping gains, but just those gains in there, the 6, 7, 8 yarders, they get in there, they tire out the defense, and, we saw it there in the fourth quarter. Darren McFadden was getting a lot of those 8, 9, 10-yard runs when the defense was tired out. So I think if the Cowboys can stick to the run, don't put too much pressure on Matt Castle, I think they might be okay.
Well, that's 2 of your 3 keys to the game.
Third one. Well, this one, I didn't want to say stop Marshawn Lynch because we know that's really not possible. So I'm going to go here with contain Marshawn Lynch. Now, the Seahawks come in here with the highest rushing yards per game as well as the most rushing yards over the season so far. They're the only team over 1,000 yards in the NFL right now, and they've also ran the ball the most times out of anybody else. So the Cowboys are really going to have to stop Marshawn Lynch here. As you can see, just jumping right over the pile for the touchdown
Going up
on a Sunday. Actually, I think that game was Thursday.
Is that on a Thursday?
Either way.
Either way, it's not a Tuesday.
Either way, but the Cowboys are going to have to contain Marshawn Lynch
She's not
and keep that defense off the field.
Ed, would you have to agree with his keys to the game? I mean, is that the way we beat the Seahawks?
Well, you know what? I think certainly the turnovers. You got to limit the turnovers. The run game did well. Darren McFadden, the most carries, I believe, since he's with the Oakland Raiders. 29 carries, 152 yards. I think he's your back. The other player I'm going to say is the key for the Dallas Cowboys defensively is Rolando McClain against that run game. He's been very disappointing to me. He came in a little bit out of shape, a little heavy. I thought during that bye week he might, and I got to tell you this is his last chance in the NFL. He's playing for a contract. So I thought we'd see a little bit more out of him. He was really good playing sideline to sideline last year, explosive hits in the hole. Yeah. They need him Sunday. And so far, really, he didn't have a good game Sunday against the New York Giants, and they really need him Sunday against the Beast Mode. They really do.
And the only reason that it was such a close game is because Eli and OBJ just weren't themselves. Eli was doing his best Peyton impersonation, and I don't know who put on the Odell Beckham jersey and that orange hair, but it wasn't him playing out there. Would you have to agree with those keys? I know you're a big OBJ fan.
I am, but honestly, watching him against the Cowboys this past week, it's embarrassing. I mean, I'm a diehard LSU fan. I saw him be recruited by LSU. I watched him all the way through his college career with Jeremy Hill. He had Zach Mettenberger for a while, and he did big things. He's, been well known for his one-handed catches, but I didn't see him show up at all against the Cowboys. And yeah, everybody do your best OBJ impression. But I wasn't impressed with him, and I think he has a lot of potential, but I think that Tyler's touching on a lot of really important things. Containing Marshawn Lynch would probably be my number one thing for the Cowboys.
Yeah, that's absolutely huge. Great insight from these three. They know what they're talking about, folks, and we're going to give away some game balls in the next segment and predict how much we're going to lose to the Seahawks by in segment 4. Don't go anywhere.